The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Crime News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. We're live to tape on October 12th, 2022, episode number 546. And today, Hive and Mighty. My name is Gonz, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, a.k.a. the Cabana Boy, live from California, here to serve you a podcast that brings you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And today's emergent phenomena, obstacles. You know, we all face obstacles, whether you're a lizard person and you're trying to figure out how to extract the souls of all mankind at scale, or you're just a cabana boy and a googly-eyed VR headset man and fellow producers trying to publish a podcast live. You know, there's a range when it comes to obstacles, but we all face them. And today's one of those days for us. Another absent co-host. The Rockfin's going, right? Yeah, Rockfin should be live. Yep, there we are. Rockfin's going for people that want to go check us out on Rockfin. But yeah, here we are doing another solo show, which means mistakes will be made. I'll just say that at the top. And I'll do my best as I wade through it solo. But let me just get through a rundown of what we're going to talk about today.
Oh, look, here's Basil.
Let me bring you up to speed.
Well, close enough. Not quite Basil, but here we go. Today, we're going to talk about, real quick, NASA successfully punching the asteroid and some of the quotes that have come out from that. And then I'll give you guys a quick update on what Basil is up to, just so you guys are up to speed on that. And then for the Flippy update, we will check out Ada, the robot making history, giving evidence to a House of Lords inquiry. And then we will dive into, as a little disclaimer, some adult themes when it comes to the Ukraine-Russia thing. But just to make a particular point about it, because it is Wednesday, we try to cover that topic on a Wednesday every week. And it's not all, because Biden is doing things to China which resemble something that the United States did decades ago to Japan to provoke them into attacking a certain area to start a war. And then we'll kind of look at the economic situation that spirals out from these tensions, this economic war that we are in with China, and some commentary from certain people, but also the exposing of our current system and sort of the washing out of the corruption as part of the agenda when it comes to the Great Reset. And we'll look at some rising stars on Wall Street and the consequences of what the consequences of telling the truth might look like. They're sort of making an example with Alex Jones' recent report here about $1 billion that he owes for the Sandy Hook lies. And then we'll say bye to YouTube because we're going to have to cover some stuff from the Covido Waxino, if you know what I'm talking about. And it has to do with the heart. It seems like they're targeting the heart, literally like the physical heart. And then, of course, a quick Antarctica update, which is also a drone update. And it all kind of spins together into a crazy mass effect of wild conspiracies, right? Just conspiracies or fake news. I don't know anymore. So to kick things off here, we're going to talk a little bit about the alleged thing called space.
Space. Wanna go to space?
This is Vice.com, and their headline, NASA successfully punched an asteroid off course in planetary defense test, agency announces. And, it's one thing to sort of read about it or see, but it's a whole other thing when you're listening to or watching Bill Nelson, NASA administrator, really just make the declaration here.
2 weeks ago, NASA made history once again. We conducted humanity's first planetary defense test. And now the team has confirmed that the spacecraft's impact altered Dimorphos orbit around Didymos by 32 minutes.
Oh, so close.
And therefore successfully moved its trajectory.
Someone's getting fired. They're trying to hit that 33 signaling, but man, only made it to 32 minutes. So again, pretty interesting claims here about planetary defense. This goes back to the Star Wars thing in the 80s with Reagan and even before that. But, the fascinating thing is the theories that spark from, these types of stories about planetary defense and, debris and who knows what else, right? I mean, why would you need a defense mechanism from out there, I guess? And a lot of the end times folks that I've rubbed shoulders with and talked to and the sentiment that I've heard over the years is that perhaps the earth itself is preparing for the coming of Jesus Christ, and it will be framed as sort of an alien invasion. Like, oh, the bad guy's here. We need to wipe out the bad guy. And so, it's just kind of simplified way to explain that whole situation. But it's something that's interesting when we talk about what is actually taking place with NASA making these bold sort of claims about what they're doing, basically playing out the movie Armageddon from the 90s and making things happen, knocking off trajectory of an asteroid. And also, just making it sound like it's no big deal. This is Nancy Chabot, I think it's Chabot, talking about how, just a nudge.
It just gave it a small nudge. But if you wanted to do this in the future, potentially, it could potentially work, but you'd want to do it years in advance. Warning time is really key here in order to enable this sort of asteroid deflection to potentially be used in the future as part of a much larger planetary defense strategy.
Okay, so yeah, there you go. We need more time. We'll have to know ahead of time, what's hurling towards Earth. And of course, there is a large asteroid that is supposed to, or was it a comet? I think it's an asteroid that's supposed to get pretty near Earth in the latter part of this decade. So I'm sure that's part of the control mechanism as well when it comes to, saying that they're doing this kind of thing. Funding is one thing, but also, perhaps preparing for some turmoil in that regard. And a perfect time to really shake up the world and restructure everything to the likes of some totalitarian master eye at the top. But so there you go. There's not much to this other than, the actual clips themselves, the article itself. We've talked about this already, so it's not really that interesting to go back into. But, that 32 is funny. They tried to get to 33, but they just couldn't do it. And yeah, there's not much else for me to say about it at this moment, but that's okay. We're we're just trying to keep track of some of the stuff. I'm not going to do a huge breakdown on, all of it and what it means. But over the years, until about 2015, when, a lot of people in the truth-seeking community started talking about flat Earth, and sort of questioning the cosmology, where we are in the cosmos and what the whole Earth looks like and all that kind of stuff. It's just interesting to me that they wait until that is out there, in sort of the alternative thinking, before they start making moves publicly like this, as well as, creating the Space Force and all that kind of stuff. So just keeping track of it on this kind of I'm feeling lonely again, just because I'm used to having a co-host, and when the co-host isn't around, things get a little rough. But it is still Wednesday here, so let's keep moving.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Hey guys, know what day it is? It's Wednesday. It's time for the Canary Cry News Talk. Yeehaw!
It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday. Wednesday. It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday, my dudes.
Yep, it's Wednesday. We made it halfway toward of the week, I guess. Great. Yeah, just I'm going to take a moment here to talk about the googly eyes, the missing googly-eyed co-host man, but also, I'm at home. I'm trying to, spend time with family. And what does the wife and the daughter do? Big old box of googly eyes for their many, Halloween-ish not Halloween per se, but mostly fall-themed craft projects. And I just can't get away. I go home and they just haunt me. A full box of them. And then some little cute crafts that came out of it. But so there you go. That's my home life. And then I have been in communication with Basil. And so, he's been frustrated because he's trying to connect to the internet. He's in a foreign land. And he's trying to connect, just having a real hard time with the local internet providing. And to the point where, we've had that issue with Basil not being able to connect from Burning Man and sort of hey, is he targeted or something? And now it's getting really suspicious, okay? Because he was trying to connect. He was able to connect briefly, and then it just dropped, of course. And then he told me that he woke up the other day, walked out and saw that one of the doors across from the building he's staying at was cracked open. So he peeked inside, and it was the networking closet, where all the wires and cables of the internet. So it was somebody going in there, making moves, unplugging a couple things. And then he also sent me this photo of a gentleman with a beard where he's staying. And of course, he's got googly eyes, as if to signal to him, like, hey, as much as you think you're on top of things, we are watching you as you travel. And it's a little creepy, I got to admit. But yeah, people asking if he's back from Burning Man. No, he's not back at Burning Man. He's been back. He's traveling elsewhere along the time stream. And so there you go. That's Basil's little update there. I don't know if he will be back or available to be back on Friday. It's just been very frustrating to connect to the internet. There's a part of my brain that's like, he's purposely not getting online so he doesn't have to do the show. But I highly doubt it. He's probably got a lot to say about a lot of these stories that have been out the last couple days. And so, I feel bummed out, and I know everybody else is bummed out, but the show must go on, rain or shine. So we'll just keep plugging along here. And I do want to just mention that this show is value for value, which means no advertisements, no male enhancement products, like some people who just got fined $1 billion that they owe. We'll get to that story in a little bit. But yeah, we operate on that value for value model because we don't want to be beholden to corporations telling us what we can and can't talk about. And yeah, that makes it very difficult because, the established order really doesn't like free thinking or dissenting opinions about stuff. And they particularly don't seem to like people that are saying that Jesus Christ is Lord, that the Bible is true. That kind of stuff really seems to anger these folks. I don't know why. I'm not sure exactly what the situation is. But in any case, this value for value model allows us to just be out there and not have to be beholden to those corporate overlords. And so we're very grateful for that. And normally we would thank executive producers here. Those are people who came in with $100 or more per episode, but we don't have any, at least not yet. So, yeah, another situation. Well, last episode we had a couple come in, so, we broke that streak, but we seem to be back on the no executive producer streak, at least for now. But if you don't want that to happen, you can go to canarycryradio.com/support. canarycryradio.com/support. And I know people are receiving their supply drop right now, so that's kind of fun. I received mine. I'll maybe mention it a little bit later, but let's just keep moving just because I want to get through everything here. Got a lot of family stuff going on in my life, so got to get to that. But in the meantime, it's time for your Flippy update.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
All right, it's the Flippy update. Flippy is the colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore how robots are taking over everything and how there's nothing we can do about it until Jesus comes back, because he'll set them robots straight. Today, we have news.sky.com, and we were actually going to talk about this on the last episode, but some other good Flippy updates were took the seat there. But we're going to talk about Ada. AI robot Ada, that's spelled AI-DA, is about to make history, giving evidence to a House of Lords inquiry. And it says here, the subheading, Ada robot has made headlines painting everyone from the Queen to Billie Eilish and Paul McCartney. Is creativity under attack from the rise of artificial intelligence? Who better to answer that question than Ada, the world's first artist robot that has made headlines for her incredible paintings and sculptures, not least a portrait of the Queen to celebrate the Platinum Jubilee earlier in 2022. Later today, Ada robot will make history as she is far too realistic to call her an it, in parentheses, okay, all right, news.sky.com, gives evidence that the House of Lords is part of its A Creative Future inquiry, examining potential changes for the creative industries and looking at how they can adapt as tech advances. And I have the exchange here edited down. The Telegraph carried some of it, the moment when it happened. And the first part of this is just kind of interesting because the robot doesn't work. Ada doesn't respond when she is first asked to respond.
Hello, Ada.
Oh, it's not turned on.
It's not turned on. Is that a joke?
I went to sleep.
No, she's there.
No.
Excuse me.
And there's a gentleman that's sort of, I guess, the assistant or the operator or something. He's kind of getting in her face and moving her around. And then, interestingly, puts a pair of sunglasses on her or something.
It's speak.
Maybe they're not sunglasses. Maybe they're a pair of regular glasses. Something goes over. There it goes. Puts on a pair of... Yeah, those are sunglasses.
Can I reset her? Is that okay?
Yes, I don't...
Oh, can I reset her? Oh, right.
What is the role of technology in creating art in the future?
Quiet. Head moves a little bit and answers.
The role of technology in creating art will continue to grow as artists find new ways to use technology to express themselves and reflect and explore the relationship between technology, society, and culture. Technology has already had a huge impact on the way we create and consume art. For example, the camera and the advent of photography and film. And it is likely that this trend will continue with new technologies. There is no clear answer as to the impact on the wider field, as technology can be both a threat and an opportunity for artists creating art.
Okay. She clearly says there that the advent of technology could be a threat or an advantage. Let me just hear that again real quick.
As to the impact on the wider field, as technology can be both a threat and an opportunity for artists creating art.
A threat and an opportunity, I guess. Yeah, there you go. So for those of you just listening, yes, Ada the robot is in the House of Lords committee here. She's standing, amidst where the speaker would stand. And she's a full robot body there. She's got some overalls on. She's showing off her robot arms. She's got kind of like a short bowl. I don't know what these are called. Bowl cut for a woman with the short bangs. And yeah, she's just speaking here and she's answering the questions, I guess. Doesn't sound premeditated at all to me. Wink, wink. But in any case, either way, the part that really just jumped out at me was explicitly mentioning threat or opportunity, because just for an AI robot machine to say that is itself a threat, is it not? It's like the robot saying, yes, we can be a threat or an opportunity for you. It's like, oh, is that a threat? Are you threatening us with threats or opportunity, like using us the right way or the wrong way? Very interesting. So yeah, here we are. I mean, I don't think that 10 years ago, if we said, hey, in 2022, you're going to have a robot make an appearance at the House of Lords, in Parliament in the UK and start making statements. You would have thought you're insane. That's not going to happen. That's crazy talk. But here we are. And it all does feel like a big gimmick, like a big joke or a big PR thing. And it's partly true that it is, but it's also indicative of where some of these people, where their attention is going, where they think the world is going in the near future. And it should not come as a surprise to anybody who's been paying attention to what's been unfolding, but it is going to require a population that is complicit or compliant to some of the advances, I guess, of technology, specifically AI, and specifically when it comes to art, because art is such a human thing. Throughout history, art has been the expression of human emotion, memory, thoughts. It's an expression that is uniquely human. And so for machines to just step in and say, we are a threat or an opportunity for you, it's a little troubling, because it's basically outright saying we are taking advantage of human creativity, and you can either use us to your advantage and to our benefit, a mutual sort of agreement, or for some kind of negative development, which, biblically or eschatologically speaking, doesn't look much different from what the Bible says there. So towards the end times. So yeah, it all seems to be coming together in that way. But there you go. That's our Flippy update. I'm curious to what Basil would have to say about this, because, he's a premier expert on robot reporting, and especially the Flippy arm. And that's the thing, this Ada robot. We've talked about Ada before, obviously. We reported on the robot, when it made paintings or drawings of the Queen, as the article mentioned. And so we've been tracking Ada for a long time. But it's come a long way. And sort of but on a different lane from Sophia, with Singularity University and Ben Goetzel and the Cardano blockchain and everything else. They're doing their own sort of AI thing. And interestingly enough, though, Cardano, if those of you who are aware of the cryptocurrency Cardano, their ticker symbol is ADA. It's ADA. It's in reference to the same Ada Lovelace that this Ada is named after, AIDA. So there's some connection there. I don't think it's the same company, behind Ada as Sophia, but I think the spirit behind it is very much the same. And I think that's the point that I want to make there. Okay, so let's get into some Russia, Ukraine news.
Russia.
Fight for Ukraine. New world order.
Just a quick disclaimer before we go into this. This is in reference to an adult theme. So if you have little young ones, maybe skip out on this one. Won't take too much time on it. Just to mention something about the hive mind behavior here. So yeah, again, skip this one if you got real young ones. You don't want to explain everything here, but I'll try to keep it as clean as possible. It is from the Jerusalem Post, so a pretty mainstream outlet. And the headline here is 15,000 Ukrainians decide to have a mass orgy if Russia deploys nuclear weapons. Oh, good. That's fun. I won't read all the details here, but here's what the article says. The fear of the use of nuclear weapons by Russia against Ukraine looms over the current crisis, but some Ukrainians have found a creative solution. A large group of Ukrainians has decided to organize a mass orgy to take place on a hill outside of Kyiv in case Putin does launch a nuclear bomb. 15,000, more than 15,000 people have registered. Oh my gosh. There's I guess, okay, so there's the thing, there's some details regarding that. We don't need to read about the details, but what do Ukrainians think about this idea? Again, this is from the article here. Ooh, where did it go? Oh no. Oh, here we go. A local woman said the program embodies the optimistic Ukrainian spirit and growing self-confidence over their chances of winning the war in an interview with Radio Free Europe. Okay, that's pretty nationalistic spin there, Hey, what do you think about this thing these 15,000 people are planning to do? It's the optimistic Ukrainian spirit, of course. Quote, it's the opposite of despair. Even in the worst scenario, people are looking for something good, she said. Quote, this is the mega optimism of the Ukrainians. So this is mega optimism, folks. You want to be a mega optimist? Yeah, you know what to do. It's crazy. All right. Another person added that, quote, it's an attempt to show that the more they try to scare us, the more we'll turn it into something else. Humor helps. It's a response to the Russian threat. Yeah, I suppose so. There is a way to push back against the whole NWO eugenics system without doing a thing like this, a monogamous thing, be fruitful and multiply. That can take place without the group activity there. So on a more serious note, meanwhile, on a more serious note of Kyiv, the authorities have started handing out potassium iodide pills for fear of a nuclear attack. The city council of the Ukrainian capital confirmed that it provides shelters and evacuation centers in preparation. The pills can help block harmful radiation in the thyroid gland in the event of a nuclear disaster if taken right before or immediately after exposure to nuclear radiation. Kyiv authorities said in a statement that they would distribute the pills in areas contaminated by nuclear radiation if evacuation was necessary. And just more of this kind of stuff. More of the fear of a nuclear blast, and Putin's going to hit the button and it's going to go off. And what are we going to do? Oh, we'll take these pills that the government gave us and we will go be shameless on the hillside. I don't know. If we're not, we always talk about like the thing that's going to trigger the return of Christ. I guarantee this got our Lord Jesus Christ out of his seat a little bit, just like they're doing what? Of course, he knows everything, but it's just not one of those things where it's like, okay, all right, great. I don't know how this really helps, especially if they're being blasted with radiation. the kind of mutations that may come from the offspring of a situation like this. I don't know. I don't know anything. I'm just a guy on a microphone yelling and screaming about stuff. But there you go. And the big takeaway here for me is that the behavior, the sort of hive mind behavior, where it's just like, oh, we're all going to kind of do this together. It's bizarre to me, and not that all, let me just be clear. There is a biblical, you can call it a hive mind. It's not really a hive mind. It's being in one mind in Christ, but there's sort of a way to do this in respecting the uniqueness of each individual and sort of understanding the person and not having to act in the sort of animalistic way as a group. That's sort of what's being exploited, especially with all the technology and everything that's diminishing each person into just data in a big data system that can sort out things and change behavior based on, those pieces of information that all come in. We're more than that. Every individual has an opportunity to acknowledge the breath that is, the breath giver and, attain eternal life. It's not so difficult, but we're humans. We make everything challenging, obstacles. And along those lines, moving on, there's some stuff that I want to talk about from the China front.
Welcome to Chinese news. It comes from China. 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 It's not racist at all, no.
Chinese news!
Oh, and it's also got to do with Biden.
Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs. Hairy. Got hairy legs. Hairy. COVID.
Armageddon's on the way.
Bloomberg headline: No possibility of reconciliation as U.S. slams China chips. No on those China chips. The Biden administration's new restrictions on technology exports to China could undercut the country's ability to develop wide swaths of its economy, from semiconductors and supercomputers to surveillance systems and advanced weapons. I love how the war is like, no. We're not going to let you build that. We're going to build that here in America, baby. The U.S. Commerce Department on Friday unveiled sweeping regulations that limit the sale of semiconductors and chip-making equipment to Chinese customers, striking at the foundation of the country's efforts to build its own chip industry. The agency also added 31 organizations and 2 more unnamed. No, I'm just kidding. The agency also added 31 organizations to its unverified list, including Yangtze Memory Technologies Co., and a subsidiary of leading chip equipment maker Naura Technology Group Co., severely limiting their ability to buy technology from abroad. The moves are the Biden administration's most aggressive yet, as it tries to stop China from developing technological capabilities it sees as a threat. Depending on how broadly Washington enforces the restrictions, the impact could extend well beyond semiconductors and into industries that rely on high-end computing, from electric vehicles and aerospace to simple gadgets like smartphones. Chinese state media and officials over the weekend raged against the action, warning of economic consequences and stirring speculation about potential retaliation. He, Xiaopeng, the chairman and CEO of Chinese EV maker Xpeng Inc., warned last month that escalating U.S. restrictions on chip exports will set back the nation's autonomous driving sector. The two countries are now officially in an, quote, economic war. Dylan Patel, chief analyst at SemiAnalysis, said. A Chinese analyst said there is, quote, no possibility of reconciliation any longer. Quote, this is the U.S. salvo against China's efforts to build its domestic tech capabilities, said Patel, who estimates the restrictions could reduce global technology and industry trade by hundreds of billions of dollars. Quote, it's the U.S. firing back, making clear they will fight back. European and Chinese semiconductor stocks tumbled on the news. It goes into some of the stock and how much they fell. Quote, the rules are a directional signal about U.S. policy in China. A very hawkish consensus is now cemented in place, wrote Dan Wang, technology analyst at Gavical Dragonomics. Oh, good. Like dragon economics, Dragonomics. Cool. Very cool. U.S. officials said the new restrictions are necessary to stop China from becoming more of an economic and military menace. And it goes, this is right here. China, quote, has poured resources into developing supercomputing capabilities and seeks to become a world leader in artificial intelligence by 2030, said Assistant Secretary of Commerce for Export Administration Thea D. Rosman-Kendler. Quote, it is using these capabilities to monitor, track, and surveil their own citizens and fuel its military modernization, end quote. Reaction in China was furious. The nationalistic Global Times newspaper warned the, quote, savage attacks on free trade. Ironic, huh? China would accuse the U.S. As a savage, conducting savage attacks on free trade would have dire consequences for the U.S. Quote, only arrogant and ignorant people can truly believe that the U.S. can block the development of China's semiconductor or other technology industries by these illegitimate means, quote, end quote, it said in an editorial. Quote, the U.S. hegemony in science and technology that harms others without benefiting itself may bring some short-term difficulties to China's semiconductor industry, but will in turn strengthen China's will and ability to stand on its own in science and technology. And so, yes, we are at an economic war, and it pertains to the U.S. and Biden, the Biden administration, putting in more, just really restrictive restrictions that are sweeping to prevent China from accessing the development of technology, at least, the hardware. And I think this is very familiar to people who have studied a little bit of history, especially like World War II history, where the U.S. started to choke out certain resources for Japan, and Japan was kind of backed into a corner, and they were, for the sake of honor, they had to attack Pearl Harbor. They were sort of baited into it. And I think this is the same thing with the Taiwan-China situation. If the U.S. starts to choke them out, it's going to force China to do something about Taiwan, and because of the chip manufacturing that's there in Taiwan. So I think this is a very dangerous thing, and part of the economic turmoil and downturn that we'll probably see for another year or so is probably part of this. The realignment of a lot of the resources that go into building the hardware for technology to advance. And so it all comes back to a resource war in the end. It's not just the data. The data is sort of the cherry on top of everything. You gotta get the hardware to surveil, and the U.S. doesn't want China to have all that technology because they don't want them to be the only ones with all the capabilities. But in connection to this story, I want to bring your attention to a tweet from BlackRock. Good old BlackRock, our friends that, they're not buying up all real estate. They're just funding stuff that does that. On October 11th, the BlackRock Twitter account posted this. The Wall Street Journal Opinion published an op-ed titled China's Threat to Taiwan Semiconductors, which had numerous inaccurate statements about BlackRock and said we have been, quote, conspicuously silent about the risks associated with China and Taiwan. So BlackRock on Twitter, their own Twitter account, is highlighting a Wall Street Journal opinion piece that was sort of, I guess, less than favorable towards BlackRock, and suggesting maybe BlackRock had some ties to the CCP or some bias against or with them, as opposed to the interests of the West and the U.S. And as part of the tweet thread, it's a long thread, it goes into 6 posts, but on the second post, here's what BlackRock says. He sets it up that BlackRock has been conspicuously silent about the risks associated with China and Taiwan. BlackRock says this: that's not true. We have highlighted for the past year the investment risks should China take steps to accelerate reunification with Taiwan. Okay, this is very subtle, but I want people to pick this up. BlackRock, in their own words, said that, there could be investment risks if China took steps to accelerate reunification with Taiwan. Now, that language, accelerate reunification, is more in line with what China sees as the situation with Taiwan. Taiwan and the West sees Taiwan as its own thing, its own nation, sovereign. But China sees it as, no, they're part of us. This whole thing is part of a reunification. So for BlackRock to use the phrase or the word specifically reunification in the context with China's activities in Taiwan suggests that maybe BlackRock is being influenced heavily by the CCP. And, that's partly why we are value for value here. See, if BlackRock was value for value, first off, they would not be the monster that they are, trillions of dollars and buying up a whole bunch of land and controlling the entire economy here, or one of the big companies doing so. Big tentacle in the big Kraken has taken over the world. They wouldn't have that level of power, but also they would be beholden to no one but the people funding them, which would be the people, which is not what's happening here. This is a government, a totalitarian government, the CCP, or at least authoritarian, that is influencing the thinking here at BlackRock. So just thought that was an interesting take. But, everybody has an opinion, especially Elon Musk. This is news.sky.com. And the headline here, Elon Musk proposes China-Taiwan solution days after his Russia-Ukraine peace plan poll. So Elon at it again. Again, I really think this is part of distributing the idea, popularizing the idea of, or at least democratizing the way governments operate moving into the future. Yes, geographical governments will still matter, and nation states and everything, those will still matter, but there is a certain level of technological circles or hives that will be created, citizens that belong to cyber nations, meta cyber nations from all over the world. We're everywhere, but we all belong to the Muskverse or whatever it is. And we all voted that this should happen. And so it's sort of this new democratization, technocratic way to do things. And Elon is sort of showing how that's done just through Twitter and polls. Real quick, Elon Musk has suggested making Taiwan a, quote, special administrative zone similar to Hong Kong, just days after floating a, quote unquote, peace plan he said could end Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Quote, my recommendation would be to figure out a special administrative zone for Taiwan that is reasonably palatable, probably won't make everyone happy, he told the Financial Times, and yada, yada, yada. He goes on there. But again, why? Why are you sticking your nose in geopolitics at this level, Mr. Elon Musk? Don't you have enough to worry about getting humanity on Mars, allegedly, and cars that drive themselves, and big machines that create tunnels underground, and what else? Internet for the world with your Starlink satellites chained up and locking everybody in the firmament. What else is it? Oh, the robot assistant. I mean, the Neuralink, the brain microchip that's going to get into everyone's brains and control all of humanity. Of course, it's all sort of coming together here. This is a big part of it. If you have a bunch of people as citizens of the Muskverse, and they all got the Neuralink, they could all just vote. They could all vote on Elon's Twitter page. And hey, look at that. 100 million people who follow the mind of Elon Musk have agreed that we should make some sort of move to create whatever this whole thing was, making it a what is this? The floating peace plan. What was it? Administrative zone. That's right. The administrative zone in Taiwan. Yeah, because a bunch of people voted on Twitter. Yeah, that's the world that he wants to create. Just a vote on Twitter determines all geopolitical moves, and we strong arm you into doing it, or else we turn off the lights. Simple as that. So there you go. That whole thing sort of The whole China, the Biden's thing in China, threatening them to make moves, likely for Taiwan. Elon Musk stepping in, saying that there's a way to keep things at peace. But I also think maybe Elon might be privy to what the plan is. And he knows that maybe there's going to be some pretty nasty things that are planned when it comes to the China-Taiwan conflict. And so he wants to kind of get ahead of it and say, hey, I'm the peace guy. I'm the guy that's trying to make peace with this whole thing with the Twitter poll. So there's a lot of different angles to be thought of here. But it all comes back to how our economy is being affected. And I just want to touch on a couple stories on that front as well. This is the Wall Street Journal. And this article is titled, Government Officials Invest in Companies Their Agencies Overseas. Yeah, overseas. I thought it was overseas. Sorry. Let me say that again. Government officials invest in companies their agencies oversee. Hidden records show thousands of senior executive branch employees owned stock in companies whose fates were directly affected by their employers' actions, a Wall Street Journal investigation found. Now, we've all known about this. I think people have been screaming and yelling about it. And, part of the revealing and the revelation of this fact came with the Pelosi stuff. And so you knew it was going to be addressed at some point. But here's what the Wall Street Journal reports. Thousands of officials across the government's executive branch reported owning or trading stocks that stood to rise or fall with decisions their agencies made, a Wall Street Journal investigation has found. More than 2,600 officials at agencies from the Commerce Department to the Treasury Department during both Republican and Democrat administrations disclosed stock investments in companies while those same companies were lobbying their agencies for favorable policies. That amounts to more than 1 in 5 senior federal employees across 50 federal agencies reviewed by the Journal. Wow, 1 in 5 senior federal employees. It's a lot. You can't bump into somebody in the hallways without maybe discussing the next move when it comes to shorting a certain stock or not. A top official at the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, reported purchases of oil and gas stock. My gosh, the officials at the EPA purchasing oil and gas stock. The Food and Drug Administration, that's the FDA, improperly let an official own dozens of food and drugs stocks on its no-buy list. A Defense Department official bought stock in a defense company 5 times before it won new business from the Pentagon. Wow, that's straight up. The Journal obtained and analyzed more than 31,000 financial disclosure forms for about 12,000 senior career employees, political staff, and presidential appointees. The review spanned 2016 through 2021 and includes data on about 850,000 financial assets and more than 315,000 trades reported in stocks, bonds, and funds by the officials, their spouses, or dependent children. Okay. There's a problem. There's a big old chart here that shows stuff. And it goes into among the Journal's findings. While the government was ramping up scrutiny of big technology companies, more than 1,800 federal officials reported owning or trading at least one of 4 major tech stocks. Meta Platforms, Inc., that's Facebook, Alphabet, that's Google, Apple, Inc., and Amazon. Okay, yeah, those literally, that would be an easy thing to do. So if you're, part of the committee here, Mark Zuckerberg is going to stumble in and into a hearing. He's going to be asked difficult questions, and he's going to stumble and make robot noises and stuff while he tries to answer. And the stock is going to drop. So what do? You put in a short. You expect the price to go down, and you're able to cash in on the fact that the Facebook stock goes down upon the news. So it's all manipulation, insider trading. I don't understand why. Well, I want to say there's a reason why they're exposing this now. This is part of the Great Reset, the transparency, the exposing of some of the hanky-panky that's been going on financially, economically in this country. This is all part of it, because you can't really reset Can't really get everybody on board the reset unless you expose the corruption. And everybody knows the corruption, but you got to have that actual official exposure of the corruption in order to change it. And that change is where we have to be careful, because you can implement new technologies that are unproven, or, just rely on AI and make things happen. And those are not good either. More than 6 officials in 5 agencies, including the Federal Trade Commission and the Justice Department, reported trading stock in companies shortly before their department announced enforcement actions, such as charges and settlements against those companies. They're not saying they're shorting, but I think they're trying to be a little sneaky about what they were doing shortly before their departments announced. More than 200 senior EPA officials, nearly 1 in 3 reported investments in companies that were lobbying the agency. This is truly disgusting, folks. I mean, truly. EPA employees and their family members collectively owned between $400,000 and nearly $2 million in shares of oil and gas companies on average each year between 2016 and 2021. Now, I find this interesting because that's not a lot of money. EPA employees and their family members collectively owned between 400,000 and nearly 2 million in shares. So are they saying the total they owned all added up together is somewhere in the range of $400,000 to $2 million in shares in oil and gas companies each year? That's still a lot. I'm not saying it's not a lot, but it's, in the grand scheme of things, it's not, it's not the hundreds of millions or billions of dollars that could change hands. They're sort of, it's almost like they're feeding off the edges, where not a lot of people are looking. If you start moving tens of millions or hundreds of millions, and draws too much attention, just some, to these people, some crumbs, a few $100,000 here, a few $100,000 there, just to help out the fam, But obviously, conflict of interest if you're an official in one of these government institutions. At the Defense Department, officials in the office of the secretary reported collectively owning between $1.2 million and $3.4 million of stock in aerospace and defense companies on average each year, examined by the journal. Some held stock in Chinese companies, while the U.S. was considering blacklisting the companies. We just talked about that. So then some of these people in the Defense Department own stock in Chinese companies that have just been blacklisted. About 70 federal, and we knew about that. Again, we've kind of known about this. It's just interesting that the Wall Street Journal is sort of exposing it all in an official capacity. About 70 federal officials reported using riskier financial techniques such as short selling. Oh, no, they weren't short selling, and options trading, with some individual trades valued at between $5 million and $25 million. There it is. In all, the forms revealed more than 90,000 trades of stocks during the 6-year period reviewed. When financial holdings caused a conflict, this is the thing that's going to make everybody upset. When financial holdings caused a conflict, the agencies sometimes simply waived the rules. In most instances identified by the journal, ethics officials certified that the employees had complied with the rules, which have several exemptions that allow officials to hold stock that conflicts with their agency's work. So there's no excuse here. And, for me, it's like at a certain level, the actual people doing it, of course, they should not be doing it on the basic moral principles of what your job is and what you're supposed to be doing. However, the culture within that level, the ranks, is to do this. It's almost like, why aren't you doing it? Everyone does it. And the reason they're able to do that is because the ethics officials just certify it. And it's like, well, yeah, it's illegal, but we didn't see nothing, or, hey, there's a loophole here, just sign the papers that it's okay. I'll just sign it off. Yeah, you're fine. You complied with the rules. You complied with the rules with air quotes, right? So it's more bureaucracy, layers of bureaucracy, just allowing it to happen and not doing anything about it. That's the part that I think is going to infuriate a lot of people. Not that they were doing it. We've known that they were doing it for a long time. Why were they getting away with it? Because ethics officials are trying to delegate, or, you know, they're supposed to delegate a certain level of ethics. They're not. They're not complying, or they're not even complying. They're not upholding to any kind of honorable standard of ethics when it comes to this. So that's the part where it's just kind of like, okay, well, it's not like you guys didn't know. You guys all knew, and it's a known thing. So again, why are they doing this? Why are they allowing all this to be exposed now? I think it's part of tearing down or throwing under the bus a part of the infrastructure of our government, really, the U.S. government, and really governments around the world, to create a reset of sorts. Federal agency officials, many of them unknown to the public, wield, quote, immense power and influence over things that impact the day-to-day lives of everyday Americans, such as public health and food safety, diplomatic relations, and regulating trade, said Don Fox. He said many of the examples in the journal analysis, quote, clearly violate the spirit behind the law, which is to maintain the public's confidence in the integrity of the government. And certainly that has not happened. I don't know that it's ever really been pure. Ideologically, of course, the pendulum swings from party to party, depending on what part of history you're at. You know, some party was calling for a more transparent, situation that would create more public confidence and bring more integrity to government. But that's kind of a hot potato that gets passed around. So there it is. The exposure is taking place. It's part of, I think, enraging the general public to create change. And who is going to lead that change? The young people, the people that are marked with the number 33.
33 is the number of completion of the Great War.
33 years backwards, 33 years forward.
33.
Yeah, so I have this article here from Business Insider, that's insider.com. And the headline, The Rising Stars of Wall Street Meet 25 Outstanding Young Investors, Traders, and Deal Makers at firms like Blackstone, JP Morgan, and Bridgewater. Oh, it's the next generation of Wall Street. Yeah. And of course, the very first person they highlight is Akash Pradhan. Just take a wild guess how old he is. You said 33? You are correct. 33-year-old Akash Pradhan at TPG. Yeah, okay. There you go. Yeah, the Golden State Warriors fans' love of sports led him to his first job with the Rain Group. The UC Berkeley graduate joined the boutique investment bank in 2011, not knowing much about what the firm did because the Rain Group's focus on sports, media, and entertainment, he told Insider. Great. He was a young guy. He left Rain for TPG in 2013 and has been with the $127 billion private equity ever since. Yay. There you go. He's a private TPG Capital, private equity firm. And just manage $127 billion. No biggie. 33 years old. See, let's keep going here because, there's another one. Alexander Lucas, 28 years old, Barclays. I think there's like a credit thing. Then there's Allison Boxer, 29 at PIMCO. And then Amy Chen, 35, Moelis and Company. And here we go. Angel Pushum, 33, Warburg Pincus. And then let's continue on here. Oh, look, there's Brian Holm, 33, Blackstone, not BlackRock, Blackstone. And by the way, all these 33-year-olds are, I will say, not of the European descent. Let's just say that. They are of Asian descent, India or, I think Chinese, are some of these guys. Akash Pradhan, Indian, that's 33. That was the first one. I'm just going over this real quick, just to do a little profiling on some of this. Angelpu I don't know exactly know. Maybe Taiwanese, Vietnamese. 33, Warburg. Blackstone, Brian Holm. Looks Chinese or Korean or something. Yeah. So there you go. Let's just keep going because there's more. There is Chao Jia 30 at Man Numeric. Oh, Man Numeric. Okay. Was his number 666? Then there's David Israel 27. Credit Suisse. Didn't they almost default a couple weeks ago? Maybe this guy was David Israel, 27-year-old, was steering that ship and it almost went haywire. Let me keep going here. Erica Britton, 35, Morgan Stanley, the first European descent Caucasian person that I've seen on the list here. Jason Lightning, 29 years old, Goldman Sachs Asset Management, is a black guy. Jay Jacobs of BlackRock, 32 years old, close. Julia Dworkin at Jefferies is 30. I know there's more 33s in here. Julia Pay, 32 at Fidelity. Julie Bowe, 34 at Wells Fargo. We're going to go through this because, just real quick, it's important to say. Kathleen Lauder, 35 at KKR. Another one from JP Morgan at 29. Naveen Shahani, Apollo Global Management, 32 years old. And Noah Zarens, 33 years old, Bank of America. There's a fourth 33, I think. And let's see, Millennium Management, another 34-year-old. Oh, here we go. Rachesh Shah, 33 years old at PJT Partners. And Samuel Haber, Bridgewater Associates, another 33-year-old. And another 34-year-old at Citi. 32-year-old at Trian Fund Management. Man, they're just really right around that. And then Vahe Musoyan, 33 years old, Citadel Securities. And so if you total the number of 33-year-olds out of this list of 25 under 35, next wave of Wall Street in this article, how many do you think the insider highlighted? Now, they're all kind of around the age of 33. But the number of people that are 33 years old in this article, 7. 7. Pretty important number when it comes to the Bible and signals, a form of perfection or completeness. Very interesting. So 7 out of the 25 young investors, traders, and deal makers at firms like Blackstone, JP Morgan, and Bridgewater, the rising stars of Wall Street, are 33 years old. Ain't that something? Can't make it up. But these are the people that are going to make it. Truth tellers are not going to make it. And the blueprint for that is summarized in this story from ctpublic.org. This is breaking, I think, today. This headline here: Alex Jones owes nearly $1 billion for Sandy Hook lies. Connecticut jury rules. The unanimous verdict of $965 million was released Wednesday afternoon. Oh my gosh. How is Alex Jones going to pay $965 million to these people? I don't know how much he's worth, but I doubt he's worth $965 million. I mean, he could be. I don't think he's near the billions, but my gosh, that is a lot of money, folks. I just suck this guy dry. And this is Alex Jones is his whole model is, it's not exactly value for value. It is a little bit, but it's also, selling products, the male brain enhancement stuff and the body stuff and products. It's part of his business model. So yeah, kind of interesting. Alex Jones will owe families of victims of the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting $965 million for promoting the lie that the Sandy Hook school shooting was a hoax. A Connecticut jury determined Wednesday afternoon. The 6-member jury reached a unanimous verdict awarding tens of millions of dollars to each of the 15 plaintiffs in the case. Jurors spent days deliberating how much money Jones owed. A judge last year found Jones and his company liable by default for defaming and inflicting emotional distress on the plaintiffs' 20 children. Okay, we know about the story. And yeah, that's wow. Okay, so this makes it very difficult to be financial supporters of InfoWars and Alex Jones, because you just know that whenever you buy his brain juice thing or whatever, it's all just going to the Sandy Hook families, until he's done. So, wow. I don't know if Alex Jones is able to appeal this. I would imagine he's able to before they, really enforce it. But it's just interesting to see the range here of economic rattling going on, whether it be with other countries or within our own government, the corruption being exposed there, or on the other side, the so-called, I'm not saying Alex Jones is like this perfect truth teller guy. I'm saying he sort of commercialized the alt space, the truther thing. He was doing it for a long time, whatever. He became very popular. So it's sort of controlling both sides of the conversation, which is what the elite controllers do. They control both sides. It's not just the mainstream, the main public outlets. They also control the underground, the underground trade and things of that nature. So no surprises. It's just, you got to pay attention to all the things, which is why we here at Canary Cry News Talk keep it value for value. We don't want to be subject to this type of thing. I suppose, if you get big enough like Alex Jones and you say things, you can get sued for saying them. But also, he had his opinions, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like he was telling people to physically go out there and do something to these families or something. It's like not believing something. Sure. Okay. But it just sets a very dangerous precedent. And I felt that the whole character of Alex Jones, at least in the last decade, has been that. He's been the scapegoat to model the consequences of anybody who tries to tell the truth. It doesn't matter if Alex Jones was telling the absolute truth or not. It's just more of, hey, he's the guy we're going to pick to make as an example. So if you want to, speak truth, speak your opinions, just beware. Don't get too big because, you might have consequences for what you say. And that is the problematic world that we're living in today. And so, yeah, that's why we are value for value. And we'll thank some people who come in under that model. Producers. You guys are producers of the show. We're going to do that in a moment, right after I mention the big party going on. CanaryCry.party is a website with a tree of links that leads to everything from where to listen to the show, watch the show, how to produce the show, and how to connect with us and the community. Tons of resources there for you. It's a bunch of links. And I was thinking about this the other day. My own Face Like the Sun link tree was canceled. Like, it was censored. Like, they basically deleted my whole page maybe a month or two into having it. And I thought, man, that was quick. I don't even have an opportunity to have a link tree. So the fact that even Canary Cry is able to maintain it for this long is sort of a miracle in my eyes. But yeah, go to canarycry.party. Just type that in. It's our link tree. It just basically has links to all the things to the show, ways to produce. There's other resources like the show that Basil does called Ravel. It is a podcast with Dr. Christopher Ryan Gates. They talk about society, scripture, and scandal. And lots of interviews, good conversations had, tough conversations had in good faith, I think is the tagline there. So there you go. Go check that out. Great supplement to all the Canary Cry stuff here. And of course, it's with your best buddy Basil over there. So support him in this endeavor. You can also go to Canary Cry Clips on YouTube and Odyssey. That's the channel where our Clippies those are producers who dedicate their time to the show. Clip the long ranty episodes, full episodes, and snip it up into topics that are more digestible and consumable. So go to Canary Cry Clips on YouTube, subscribe there. We did get our first strike there, but we'll do our best to prevent too much attention from the eye of Susan over there on YouTube. Hi, Susan. We don't hate you. We just dislike you strongly for your decisions. Also, go to, or actually text Canary, the word Canary, to 877-740-3226, and we will send out a text message before we go live. That's just to inform you. And it's a good way to stay in contact with us in case the link tree goes down or, the YouTube channels disappear, which will happen at some point. Text message. We're just trying to diversify the different ways to stay in touch with everybody. And we just ask that you reciprocate and connect back with us, because we will exhaust all of the potential ways to connect with you. So there you go. Okay, let's take a break.
It's break time. Come on, take a break.
Just a quick break here, thanking producers who come in with their treasure. Again, just want to start off by thanking our monthly supporters who subscribe to our support page there. We really appreciate those of you who have committed to doing that. It means a lot. And again, we don't always thank you. We try to thank people that are new coming in or on a streak, episode to episode. So sometimes I know that the monthly supporters feel like they're being left out, being not mentioned, but we truly, truly appreciate you. You make things happen, and you have been a lifesaver on many occasions this year. As inflation hits all of us very, very hard. And so we thank you so much. If you want to support and become a supporter with your treasure, go to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
And let me do a quick refresh to find out if we had anybody come in between the top of the show and right now. And refreshing. Let's see. Load. Website. Load. We had a couple people. Oh, we have one. We have an executive producer.
Executive producers.
Yeah, so an executive producer is somebody who comes in with $100 or more. And we especially assign you as an executive producer for the episode, because you coming in over and above when it comes to your treasure. We appreciate that. And today we have Joeylicious7. Joeylicious7 coming in with $106.81. Thank you very much. That is very generous of you. With a note here, Psalm 103, 2-3. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits, who forgiveth all thine iniquities, who healeth all thy diseases. Amen to that, Joeylicious7. Thank you so much for coming in. You are episode 546's executive producer. I said that weird. You're the executive producer of episode 546.
Where'd you find this?
Yeah, appreciate that. And we are going to thank some others. Oh, I know everyone's getting their supply drops. If you are part of the supply drop team there, month to month, 3333, you should have gotten your calendar, a little package. And, I haven't been able to keep up with all of it, but I do have mine. I appreciate the team who's been putting all that stuff together. The producer Isaac, Basil's been working hard on it, and all the other people that have worked on the calendar and everything else. Thank you so much. And for those of you who've gotten the stuff, the drop, enjoy, have fun, share it with friends and family, with your communities or whatever, and let us know how some of it goes, because it's some interesting things that you can bring up. It's a conversation starter for sure. So there you go. Thank you to the supply droppers. We really appreciate you and your support. But let's thank some producers for this episode today. And actually, let me make sure I get Joeylicious on that list. Joeylicious7, executive producer, and let's thank some other producers, starting with Sir Moore of Night of the Burning Chariots, coming in with 1111. And he says, it's WMD.
It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday.
He says, hope everyone is having a good week so far. Great job with the latest supply drop, everyone. I'm loving it. Thank you very much, Sir Moore of Knight of the Burning Chariots, who is on a 150 episode streak. Best thing on 2 feet. Next up, we have Sir LX Protocol V2 of the Berean Protocol. 87 episodes in a row.
Thank you so much.
Comes in at $7.77 and says, "It is Wednesday, my dudes."
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
She says, hopefully Basil will be back. Appreciate the show. God bless. God bless you. Thank you very much. Yeah, hopefully Basil will be back. He will be. He'll return. It's just a matter of time, folks. You know, you don't know what you have until you don't have it anymore. And maybe some of you guys are feeling that loss, not the loss, but the absence of the other voice of the show. And yeah, it'll be a welcomed return when he does come back. So there you go. Thank you very much, Sir LX Protocol V2, Knight of the Berean Protocol. Next up, we have Sir. He's a Sir for sure. Sir for sure. Sir Darren, Knight of the Hungry Pandas. 57 episodes in a row, I believe. 57, yeah. Comes in with 1111. And a note, here's a little something for the Gons going solo today. Thanks for doing the show. Thank you, Sir Darren. Appreciate it. Appreciate you coming in. Let me make sure I got that in there. Oh, wait. Do I have something wrong? No, I don't think so. Okay, here we go. Let me just double check that. 57. Coming in 1111. Just got to document everything here. All right. Thank you very much, Sir Darren S. And I think that's it. I think. Oh, no. There is one more. There's more. And this is from Billy W. I feel like Billy W is a different name. If you do, I apologize. Comes in 3333. I don't see a note. Maybe there was one. Let me double check real quick because sometimes the notes come in separate from the actual receipt for the thing, but I don't see one. If I missed a note from you, I'm sorry. Let me know and we can make up for it later. So thank you. Thank you very much, Billy W. Appreciate it. All right, here we go. Let me just put that. Sorry, I'm trying to do 3 things at once here. You know, running the show and then talking and then thanking and writing things down, doing administrative stuff, all happening at once. So thank you very much, Billy W. Appreciate you coming in. And yeah, I do believe that is it for those coming in with the amount of more than $7.77, which entitles you to have a note read. There are people who come in below the number 777 cutoff, and those people we will thank right now, starting with Rung Smash. I got your note, Rung Smash. He wants to reset the count. So he is on a 2 episode streak. And he likes the lower streak jingles. There's not enough new people coming in with streaks. So, you know, you don't hear the heating up and the on fire and lit now and walking on the sun and all those fun ones that are 3 episodes apart. So, you know, Rung Smash just doing his job, keeping everybody apprised to the many different jingles we have for the many different levels. And somehow we've been able to keep track of it, or not. I sometimes lose track, but you know, that's why there's 2 of us usually, but not today. So if I miss something, I apologize. Next up, we have Veronica. Veronica D. Thank you very much, Veronica D. She's on a 182 episode streak. Yes, and I don't see she's the other streak sister here yet, but she might come in a little bit later. We also want to thank Sir Casey, the Shield Knight, 217 episodes in a row.
Oh yeah, Streakalicious.
Thank you very much, Sir Casey. And I believe that is it for right now, unless I'm missing something, unless I'm doing something very wrong. I believe that is it for the producers of today's show, at least right now. Again, email us, straighten things out. I can't keep up with everything. So if there was a mistake made, please let me know and I will fix it. Or we will fix it on Friday. Okay, let's wake up. Let's talk about some more stuff happening in the world. Oh, do we have to say bye to YouTube? Let me see here. Double checking. Yeah, might have to say bye to YouTube. So if you're on YouTube, go to canarycry.party, click on the Rockfin or Odyssey, somewhere else, maybe Rumble, and go tune in there. We're going to be speaking openly about some things that have developed in the Covido Waxino front. And even though it is sort of mainstream news now, it's just one of those things. The algos haven't caught up with the legislative part or something. I don't know. Just follow us. Follow us to other platforms. It's okay. It doesn't hurt. I know that the experience sometimes isn't as good as the multi-billion-dollar company that YouTube is and Google. So, people complain, the Rockfin app is horrible, or, the Odyssey, I can't use Odyssey, Rumble, that's horrible. Well, yeah, compared to YouTube, which is a multi-billion-dollar platform, some of those other ones are going to not be as smooth. It's just part of the game, folks. What do you want? Do you want free open speech, or do you want sleek user experience? All right, there's a lot of stuff. I apologize. A lot of noise happening in the background here in my house. There's things being moved around. So, all right. So, hopefully that didn't hurt anybody. YouTubers, see you later.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure?
Twitch, Rumble, Odyssey, Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is, you can find all those links at canarycry.party as well.
Too hot for YouTube.
YouTube. Now you see me. Now you don't.
It's Corona time. COVID-19. COVID-19. COVID-19.
COVID-19.
COVID-19. COVID-19.
Coronavirus.
Vaccine. I am vaccine. Vaccine, number one way.
Number one way. All right, turning off YouTube.